So today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in the Philippines in general. And with what's going on, the situation here, you have to consider a few things. You have to consider the typhoon that just happened. It has destroyed a lot of provincial areas, nice ones. A lot of Cebu is without electricity. A lot of the small provinces where you probably are going to go are not actually operational. People are going to bigger cities. Money out of ATM machines. We're dealing with a problem now where the money was out of the ATM machine. They claim we collected an additional time. And if you don't prepare yourself and bring enough money, it could become an actual big problem. So before you come here, there's a lot of pros and cons to living in the Philippines. Can you live Western style or Filipino style? That's going to make a difference in your costs and how pros and cons come up on living here. But we were just sitting here thinking, let's drop a discussion because we have a whole list of things we want to talk to you guys about. And we're going to keep it real. We've been keeping it real since 1980, people. There's no joke in that. You have to not have things sugar-coated. Somebody telling you that, hey, you're making enough money, you're doing this, and that. We're living the real thing, and I am a female expat that is used to high comforts. Can you actually live Filipino style? Can you actually live, if I didn't mention, you can have, for the amount of money you go and spend at a restaurant, $50-$60 will be average to sit down with somebody, a couple with a kid or something, in a Western style restaurant. There's a lot of them here. I think it was 1,200 pesos for pizza, and it was one pizza. So you're talking about a medium pizza for $20 US. That is 2 days. I know he's laughing. I love pizza.
No.
That's 2 days' wages
guys,
here.
Pizza, okay. It's rare to know where Western Standard Pizza is. And don't ask the locals as far as where Western Standard Pizza is, because most of them don't even know what a Western Standard Pizza is. Or right, it's either Italian. Well, which is Italian is the Western Standard Pizza.
Yeah, we're used to
But
that.
most Filipinos are not familiar with that, so I'm telling you right now, it's best to ask either a foreign or somebody who's been to the United States, and they can tell you where to get a Western pizza. The pizza that we have here is, I guess, the word is spongy and cheesy.
And sweet sauce. Everything
So
has
basically,
a sweet sauce.
it's not going to be a crunchy pizza. It's going to have a thick layer of cheese and sauce. It's like eating bread with cheese sauce on it. That's the best way to describe our pizza.
That's true.
And quite honestly, I mean, I'm very familiar with this area. I only know of two places that sell it here, and that would be Armando's Pizza down on the main strip right by the big church, and the other one would be Shakey's, which is down here in MacArthur Highway. Two is the only places I know.
But there's really, again, you could sit down at a restaurant and be up to $50 US like you're sitting in the US, and that kind of money is astronomical. That's like half of our rent here. There's no reason. It's better that you cook your own food. You'll save some money. But if you're buying those American products, especially red meat, hamburger, steaks, what did I tell you that was up to? $16 a pound?
Right.
$15
Basically,
a pound?
Western Standard food has Western Standard prices. And here's another clincher too. Don't come here and expect you eat at McDonald's, it'll taste exactly the same. No country's the same. Even if you go from North America to Mexico, it would be different. So, like I said, that's a very close border, guys, and you can go to the exact same restaurant and have a completely different flavor to it. Same thing from there to here, and there to Japan, and so on and so forth.
It's really a lot different on the actual food. So there again, pros and cons of actually living here. So this woman, first issues here, ATM machines. Here in the Philippines, and I'll let George, I always cut him off, I'm just a busy mouth. ATM machines and how do you get your money. We're going to do a whole video on this. These are things that you're going to learn when you get here. You can read as many expat forums as you like, watch as many local YouTubers as you like, watch YouTubers that are Filipino as you like. First off, I suggest you bring a Filipino. If you don't have one and you're running around here single, you better know some people because they're going to know how to get things done. Most people transfer their money from a U.S. bank into a Filipino bank, or they wire themselves money through 5 or 6 services. Let me put it this way. We just found out that on one of them, the price went up for every US dollar. They're taking 2 pesos. That adds up. That can add up quick, $30. So you're transferring it for a price. You're losing 2-3 pesos on the US dollar. That adds up very, very quickly. You have the fluctuation of money. One day it's 51 pesos. One day it's 49. And then comes the ATM issue. It's out of money. That is the biggest con
Okay, guys,
of the ATM.
This is steadfast. We're speaking from experience. Mexico and Philippines do not go to the ATM unless it's an emergency on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Why? Because Friday's payday, and those who didn't get to the bank on Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be there on Monday. What that means for you, really long lines for the ATM, and then if you're really unlucky, you stand there long line for an hour. By the time you get to the machine, it's out of money.
It's out of money for it.
Mexico and Philippines, not just Philippines. This is speaking from experience, and we've done a lot of bank runs. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, do not go to the ATM unless you really have to. The exception to this rule, the bar ATMs. Now, the bar ATMs,
we did that when we first got here. It was up around the corner. We were down on
the bar
Walking
ATMs
Street.
always have money because they have super high premium charges for you using it. So that's the exception.
I think we went from $3 to what, 6 or 8?
Yeah,
when we
it's
took it
literally
out.
6 to 8 depending on the bar. If
So
the
don't
higher
take your
the
money
bar.
out. Don't take your ATM money out. So what's the next con there?
Yeah, bureaucracy. Now, there's a lot of ways to.
Take it away.
Well, bureaucracy. I'm gonna overgeneralize this because everybody knows bureaucracy involves everything, anything and everything, from the DMV, as we all know, and to you name it, has bureaucracy. Now, bureaucracy when it comes to first world countries, it's pretty much obvious. In third world, I'll take you aback. What I mean is, for example, a checkpoint. A checkpoint's very simple, right? Like, just an example of bureaucracy. One checkpoint from another may have completely different requirements of crossing the border.
Here in the Philippines.
Here in the Philippines. So it could be as simple as 2 IDs, 1 ID.
No
No
ID.
ID.
You can just say where you're from. They'll let you
It
through.
changes, and same thing with the DMV here. It depends on who you're with, so it's always good to be nice to everybody. Because I'm gonna tell you right now,
and you've got to be nice. and
everybody's
patient.
connected to everybody. And put it this way, like I pretty much knew who's connected to who in the first week I was here because everybody knows everybody. Bottom line, if you're good friends with one person, you're good friends with everybody.
So be nice to everybody
Be nice to
because
everybody.
so you have to have full respect here, and you got to be patient. And a lot of Europeans and Westerners do not have that, and it gets them in trouble.
Right.
Drinking and driving, they will go to jail. If you have a car accident, it will become your fault, and you will have to pay because it's usually handled on the spot.
For the most part, and that's what I mean. Like
When in Rome, dude.
basically steer to the edge of caution. Not everybody's corrupt. And
No.
that's where I was heading at too. Sure, some of you say, "Oh, you just grease the wheels." Well, here's the problem with that.
That's true.
If you have a
can do
straight
that too.
shooter, that greasing the wheels could land you in jail.
Correct. That's also, yeah.
And let's say that guy isn't a straight shooter. That makes you a target because you're greasing this wheel. He can, this guy is going to pay for whatever. And then now he's going to make you squeak, if you know what I mean, and make you
Right, so then
grease
they
some
know.
more.
They'll keep your address, everything
And
else, and you
since
could be...
everybody knows everybody, guess what? Everybody knows you're that type of person.
Everybody in this area knows who we are on this street. They literally know we're YouTubers. They know our lives. They don't know all of our lives, but they kind of watch our shopping patterns. They watch everything, which to me is not really a good deal. George, we have to watch like bank days. Westerners could become a target, so it's best to keep most of your business to yourself.
Right. I'm Filipino, and I have met people that know me, and I've never seen them in my life. So, guys, just let you know. Be nice to everybody.
So bureaucracy goes a long way. And stay out of politics, people. That's a bad
If you're an
thing
expat,
here.
stay out of trouble, period. Then-
Stay out of trouble and stay out of politics. They can deport you just alone.
Yeah, don't
for
talk bad about
mouthing.
anybody who has
Don't go
power.
running into the barangay hall screaming the way I want to on half the subjects. I don't care, but I don't want to be deported. I don't want to go to jail. I can be Medea all day, and I am, but you can't. So if you want to live peaceful here, there are trade-offs for living in the Philippines. And watch whatever people you want to. We're going to mention a few names, people that we believe that can tell you the real thing. Philippine Info Channel has one of the better channels that gives you the real deal. He'll tell you about the insurance. He'll tell
Western
you
standard style.
Western standards. He does like his Western standards. He lives Filipino style in the house that he does, but he gives great information. Sunshine Shoulders. It keeps it real. He says the real nitty gritty, like we say, we're keeping it real since 1985. Not going to sugarcoat it. Tell you what, it's real
Okay.
life. Boots on the ground. It's what do you call Filipino flip flops?
But remember,
not chancas. I'm thinking of.
But yeah, chinelas. But you have to remember too.
Chinelas on the ground.
These
it's the
are
real deal.
biased views, and I'm Filipino, and trust me, I'm probably more American than I am Filipino.
He was
But
born and raised.
I was born and raised here, but
and
the reason why I say
family home.
biased views is because There's some things I don't agree on because it's based on American views. And American views and Filipino living and lifestyle and outlook, they really don't match. So
They don't match, but certain areas like Angeles City,
Right.
this whole entire
So-
area was built based on the military bases, and there was a lot of Americans
Right.
here at one point when there was a...
yeah, I'm not disparaging anybody. All I'm saying is their outlook is in a Western outlook, but that does not necessarily make it correct.
And a lot...
Mention language. That's neither a pro or a con because literally I would say about
I myself personally think it's a pro because I lived in
Yeah.
Mexico for 6 months, the United States, Mexico, Central America, correct?
Right.
I got that right.
Central America. Yeah.
Central America, and I think only 3 people could speak to me. 2, actually, it was just the landlord, to be honest.
Well, in Mexico, we've only met 3 total English speakers.
And that was
Total.
hard.
Total.
So it is going to make a difference because honestly, if I go out, I get skin tax. So if I go out and get the vegetables without George, it literally, look at our other videos that we have, it literally goes from 65 pesos, which is about $1.25 for 2 pounds, or 60 cents for a pound of bananas, which is the exact price in the United States. Or we have, when I went out, it was 150,
Right.
which means it doubled. That's double the U.S. price because I went out and asked for it. But when I did, it's just kind of like you have to actually find somebody. The communication can be hard.
This is where it becomes a pro and a con, and this is what I mean. For the most part, I would say 70% understand English. Communicate completely, I would say about 60%. And then, but for the most part, you get a 50-50% chance if you get somebody who just nods their head. And that's a pro because here's the thing.
That's what I do.
On critical things, you can rely on somebody understanding. So I'd say 1 out of 4 would understand you and can help you out. But if you're just showing to one person, then you run out of, like I said, 25% chance of somebody just nodding or anything.
Again, that's what I do when they're speaking Filipino, George and them.
So it's a con because you may have this false sense of security that everybody speaks English and understands you. They may act like they understand you, but not really.
Real easy. I mean, we've been to a lot of foreign countries and we know
And they just smile and nod their head. You're like, you don't understand me, do you?
too many expats get here. We have one now in our forum that actually states that he's homeless because of the typhoon and because he lost his bar and because he lost, and this happens constantly. They lose the businesses that they start. Their women don't, I think something happens personally among them, but you never know what's going to actually happen. So a lot of people have this big dream like I did when you get to the Philippines, and it's kind of like going from champagne taste like this to like pizza face. And it's like, what's really going on? It's real life here. It's hard to see the animals that are living on the streets, the homeless, the children, the poverty, which is the next thing on the infrastructure. You can have a 5 million peso penthouse that you're living in, such as Candy Towers. Step right outside of Candy Towers, and it's going to
People that would live in Candy Towers want to live in Candy Towers because of the
walking
location.
street. Right, but it doesn't mean because you're paying that kind of money and it looks like me. I kept looking at Airbnb, which we support. And when you look at these places, they never show the outside photos, do
This
they?
is true.
Ever.
This is true.
The inside look like diamond dust, like Mariah C could actually live in this situation. And then the outside, a lot of Americans and Westerners cannot handle that situation of where the infrastructure, which we're going to go through, such as internet,
infrastructure.
telephone,
We're just
cell
going to go
phones.
through this in general because
And I'll let you cover that. Go ahead.
this is actually a very, very diverse subject. Now, infrastructure, here's how it works. The higher your rent, the better the infrastructure. The lower your rent, the worse the infrastructure.
Your electricity, I mean, we were paying, a lot of money. It was going to be 50,000 pesos a month to live in that house over near Walking Street. That is like a doctor's wages. We were there for 2 weeks, and how many times did we lose power? 3 times? 4? A lot.
3 times, maybe 4 times in a 2-week period. And we've probably lost
Internet constantly.
probably here three times in a 6-month period.
And it wasn't very long, 10 minutes.
No, very short. And over there was like a couple hours or something.
And speaking of infrastructures, when you do come, actually we had to put a hot water heater. So infrastructure-wise, it's not to the American standard. We had to even put a hot water heater in the bathroom. It's standardly cold, and there was no shower head. It was literally just a faucet and a bucket.
That's standard.
That's standard.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's a general rule. The farther you are out in the boonies, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether in the U.S. or any other country.
Yeah, that'd be the same
The
as
farther you are
Kentucky.
out, the cheaper rent is, but your infrastructure will start failing.
It will, and the buildings and the streets are not exactly. I think they said that the Philippines had some of the worst structures in, what do they call it, Southeast Asia? I keep hearing, but
Next one would be gas expense. This is on the con list only because it's not to the Philippine standard. What I mean by that is Philippine gas costs almost exactly the same as you're paying in the United States right now. It's only literally a few cents cheaper, literally.
and which brings us around to the same con, whether you're going to drive a car or not. So
Right.
I'm going to say it's better for you not to have your own transportation. Dangerous to be on a bike like all of them. Dangerous to own a car because they'll claim you hit them no matter what accident. It's your fault. The insurance, forget about buying a new car. And it's best to do a trike, a jeepney, which you guys have seen, or as we do, Grab. So it's literally $2 to the store and 2 back in an air-conditioned car. It's the same as Uber.
Right.
Safest, and you're not paying. So if you, by the time you own a car, you got another couple hundred US in expenses, and it's dangerous. You're going to wait forever in traffic. It's kind of like owning a car in New York. So really think about that one. The gas prices are high. What's the next one there, babe?
It says waiting.
Waiting. Have patience. This will be pretty quick. You're going to be waiting for everything. You go to the grocery store, you're in a long line. You go to a government office, long line. If there's a vet's office and you got to make an appointment, they won't make an appointment. You literally come in and you wait in line. Sometimes you're standing outside. So it's first come, first serve here, unless it's for the vaccine or something they pre-schedule you. But even if you're pre-scheduled, you're going to wait
I remember that ATM. Some people take 20 minutes, one person.
because they're taking money out for the whole street. We've seen people that owe people money. And the first time I was in one of those stores and as we was waiting at the ATM, there's a woman there for like 30 minutes. I was like, what is she doing? She's got different tickets. They owe her money. She's carrying their debit card to take will become a game. You got to have patience, as we discussed.
You have to have patience, period.
Real patience.
Yeah, and don't snap at anybody or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Right. Weather. Okay. There's 2 types of weather in the Philippines, 2 seasons, rainy and summer.
Huh?
No kidding. And when I said it goes up to 109 here, I'm not kidding.
Here, there is one type of weather here to Heidi. Hot. Hot.
In
And
general, it's
hot.
hot, and I've warned her it gets really hot.
I was like, no, I lived in Florida forever. I'm a Florida baby. There's no way that tropical heat was going to hit me. And we lived in Mexico for 6 months in Central America. So we were living in 70-degree weather almost constantly, no humidity.
And you haven't hit summer yet.
Oh, Lord. Well, we did July, so that will give us an
July
idea.
started the rainy season.
People, my eyeballs were sweating.
July,
Eyeballs.
Remember, I told you, every time it's my birthday, there's always a typhoon. True story. I rarely went to school on my birthday.
It's
July.
definitely so. Typhoons, earthquakes. What else do we get here? And then volcanoes. George is a survivor of a volcano.
All 3. I mean,
Yeah, survivor of everything. So the weather here plays a big factor. And if you guys even think for a minute you're going to get here, now can you live without air conditioning? I'm learning to. Now
depends on your tolerance, to be honest. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter what your tolerance is. You are human. You will adjust.
I have adjusted. We haven't had AC on regardless. I used to keep the AC on at 70 degrees. I was a neurological nurse forever, so I was used to AC, had AC all the time in my house, and I was a spoiled little brat, and it was really hard in the beginning. Every time I came out of the room, which is AC, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. And then George's like, no, you'll be okay. The longer you sit in that AC, you're just not going to adjust.
Yeah, the longer you stay in the AC, the harder you make it harder for yourself.
Which runs up your...